All right, we are recording. What's up, everyone? This is Kevin Daisy coming to you with another live recording of the Managing Partners podcast. I'm also the founder of Array Digital. We exist to help law firms grow and fill their pipeline using digital marketing. Today, I have a guest coming out of Pennsylvania, Chris Battista. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how you doing?
And I kind of gave away your secret there. Your
yes.
Chris has been, I guess, out of Fairfax, Virginia, which I'm in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And so backstage, I say, yeah, you're in Virginia too. And he said, well, actually, I'm not. So, but I'll let Chris explain that to you and some changes he's had with his practice and I guess his life. So, but first, before we get into that, Chris, give us the audience the Chris story. What's the Chris? What was your journey like? What triggered you to become an attorney, and kind of give us all the good stuff?
I guess start with the beginning elevator pitch. I'm a 15th year licensed attorney. I think it's 15, maybe 16 now. And I've been in solo practice for pretty much the distance of it. I'm licensed in 5 states now: DC, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and New York. And I've always had a business-focused practice. I started by doing the things that I needed to do to pay the bills, and developed good relationships with government subcontractors all across the Dulles Toll Road. Mostly IT organizations and government pricing organizations. Proposal assistance and things like that, which were, 4 or 5 man shops 4 or 5 person shops, excuse me, I've been corrected about that before, that just basically specialize in very, very niche practices and have companies of, maybe 1 or 2 million in revenue. And because the government contracting business on the low end is so competitive, and there's so many joint partnership agreements, joint venture agreements, and mergers and acquisitions, and all those other types of things, that as that business started to accelerate, I became very good at contracts, and I became very good at low-end mergers and acquisitions. And yes, I've been doing that. I got licensed in 2006. I really started to expand the business practice around 2008. And it's turned into a full-fledged thing. But yeah, I never did go the firm path until around 2016. I have enough counsel relationship with Longman and Van Grack, a firm of 7 attorneys out in Maryland. Okay. And we can talk about that. But now what I'm doing is expanding my profile. I became a certified merger and acquisition advisor with the AMA. I forget what the acronym stands for, but the Alliance of Mergers and Acquisitions Advisors. Which for an attorney to do that, since it's so heavily finance focused, is a pretty tough road to go down to get that certification. But I managed to do it.
You're a smart guy.
I felt a little bit of inferiority complex kind of thing, trying to learn what they teach in MBA school in a period of a couple of weeks in order to be able to pass the exam. But I did manage to do it. So between the certification and the licensure in 5 states, I am now casting a wide net. And the way that I've divided my work is that my firm, the law offices of Christopher and Battista, will handle mergers and acquisitions of 5 million and below. And for ones that are 5 million and higher, those are conducted through Longman and Van Grack, because at that economy of scale, you need reach back capability and the ability to bring in other lawyers and a much higher level of proficiency. So depending, that it's part of mastering the multiple boutique strategy, where you can, if some type of business comes into the door, you can direct it in different ways where it specializes more towards what their needs are.
No, I think that's great. That it's a good business model to have. I think to work on the ones you can handle and do good work for, and
well, yes,
have a
and
relationship to pass them on to someone else.
The smaller firms don't have the ability to do the billable rate that that a multi-person firm has. And in terms of this niche, it's not a big niche, but the supply is greater than the demand. There are a large number of people, particularly in the government contracting toll road world, that really need legal help and expertise in doing these kind of things. They're sizable enough that they can't do it on their own. They're not sizable enough that they could pick up the yellow pages in DC and go contact Latham and Watkins to go do $600 an hour work in order to create some type of ironclad acquisition with particularly when there's not millions of dollars of liabilities at stake. So
sure,
I've kind of managed to to fall into where that niche is. With the certification becoming more prevalent and the fact that lockdown is opening up, Longman and Van Grack is going to start doing a larger volume of these higher level acquisitions, and that will be accompanied by me doing more travel back and forth from New York, Philadelphia, and DC in order to sell that.
No, I love it that you've kind of found your place, your niche, if you will, and of course, in the Northern Virginia, DC area, and then in my area, I'm in Norfolk area, Virginia. There's a lot of government contractors that are around that size that are looking to grow, and for whatever reason, do you work with a lot of like 8A or any kind of?
I've done some 8A work. Usually at that, yes, I've done
service, disabled, veteran owned,
yeah,
stuff like that.
I've done a fair amount of 8A work. Most of the intricacies of the 8A rules are well known by the guys who run the 8As. So I don't really need to focus on that aspect of it as part of the niche. They bring to the table what it is they need to bring. What they really need is somebody who can really tighten contracts and think through liabilities and pitfalls and things like that. And I think that's kind of what my core skill has always been, is that I can take a look at something that looks great for everyone, and I can come up with a list of 6 or 7 things that could possibly go wrong with it. It's a great skill to have for your career. It might not represent itself optimally on a personal level.
Well, we have business attorneys. We went through a merger at one point, and we use our attorneys for lots of things and ask them what they think on this or that, and they come up with all the ways things can go bad, and then options for ways to handle it, and it's invaluable. We rely on their opinions. So I'm assuming a lot of people have counted on you, and you've helped them.
And that's the thing. I mean, even when I did the certification for the high level M&A stuff, most of the guys that were in that room, they have experience doing this stuff, but they're doing it at a level where they'll close 3 or 4 large deals in their life. When you do small deals and you're doing things along those levels, I'll close 4 to 5 deals a year. And so, I mean,
much more actual experience
in terms of having just raw gray matter of physically witnessing the number of things that can go wrong. that definitely informs my experience. And remember, if you are selling a company that is worth $1 million or $2 million, and there are things that go wrong, your bandwidth to tolerate the loss of those things that go wrong is way, way smaller than what happens if a big company experiences some type of unpredicted losses. So the level of scrutiny is actually higher.
There's not much to work with.
in terms of what your risk tolerance is.
Well, actually, I appreciate you explaining that. So another question, just because I mentioned in the beginning, is Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What's up with moving?
I moved from Fairfax, Virginia to Media, Pennsylvania 3 days ago. I'm
hot off the press, as everyone. You heard it here first.
Yes. I'm really thankful that web cameras have a very narrow perimeter, because I don't think you want to see the state of this office outside of the scope of what's covered by this camera. It's not a pretty picture yet, but yes, I just made that move, and as I said, it's going to dovetail into the idea of Philadelphia being the concentric circle of my ability to pull down business and practice. With being licensed in 5 states, I have the ability to do that type of representation anywhere from Buffalo to Virginia Beach. And if that's the case, I want to be in the center of it so as to minimize my travel time.
That's awesome. So was that primarily a business decision?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, yes, it was primarily a business decision. The quality of life in Northern Virginia has gotten a little bit more difficult between the level of construction on 66 and the pandemic lockdown, and the tolerance for virtualized appearances has gone way up. The need to be in the place where the clients are is not as large as it was just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I did. I made an executive decision when I had a lot of time to think while lockdown was in operation, and this was the plan that I came up with, and I've just recently executed on it.
Love it. You're a man of action. But yeah, it sounds like it's really going to help your firm and your business, and
absolutely. And
that's the decision you got to make when you're running a business, right? So
that's correct.
Yeah. So good on you. So, what are some of the ways you're getting in the door with some of these clients? I mean, obviously word of mouth, doing good work. What else do you have besides those things? I'm sure have worked well. What else have you done?
The certification, I was kind of taking a gamble on the fact that if I was a lawyer who was M&A certified, that it would bring in more business. And as luck would have it, that gamble actually did pay off. I do get calls from the street. I do get calls from people who are just doing searches on LinkedIn saying, we want a lawyer who's M&A certified, and that's a small pool. And when you exclude the guys who fall into that category who are part of really big firms, then it's an even smaller pool. There are a handful of guys out there who do that, but most of them are not free agents. Yeah. And so, it turns out that gamble actually did pay off fairly well.
Well, you kind of spoke. You mentioned LinkedIn, and I just connected with you on LinkedIn before the show. I'm huge on LinkedIn. This worked great for my business. The certification being a huge piece, but now you have a place that they can find that you have that.
Yes.
And your website's below too. Everyone listening, checking out the show, you can go check out his website at cmblegalanswers.com.
Yes.
That's cmblegalanswers.com. You can learn more about Chris and his practice. And I want to say too, his LinkedIn's off there and other ways to connect with him as well. But LinkedIn has been huge for me, and I think for you being in business law, it can be invaluable to have a profile up there.
No, I mean I've tried a bunch of different marketing strategies over the years, and some of them have worked, and some of them have not. The SBA database is a fantastic resource for the low end.
Yep.
For the smaller companies, because you can pull down 4 or 5,000 profiles, and you could just, even sending a physical mailer. I know people have a dim view of physical mail. I know they do, but I'm telling you that, like, if you believe that you're just going to go out and reach people by regular spam emails, your chances of people seeing it are non-existent.
Yeah.
But if you have a simple postcard that tells someone everything that you need them to know about you, and they can do it just by skimming it in 5 seconds. If it's congruous with what it is they're looking for, that's a sale.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you'll probably get a handwritten card from me shortly after this interview, at least.
Yeah. So
say thank you.
So I mean, I did a lot of those big net types of activities, and some of them have worked and some of them haven't worked. But I think now, post certification, I'm really kind of in the phase now where instead of doing grassroots work, I'm going to be doing grass tops work. I mean, there are people in the M&A business, private equity, mergers and acquisitions, venture capital, all those types of things. If I build a strong relationship with 2 or 3 of those guys, that's going to make my book for the rest of my career. So the shotgun approach is something that worked to get me to this point in time, but it's not where I see the future going.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. I think that's a good approach for you for sure, and what you're doing. And and it's different. We have attorneys probably listening from all different types of practice, and it varies by practice area too. Some immediate, like personal injury, that's, you got to show up when people look for you.
Yeah.
But you doing business law, it's a little bit different. It's B2B, it's relationships, it's referrals, and leveraging there's different things are going to work. So you got to do what works for you. But so what is that? So you say maybe 4 or 5 deals per year that you might get through. What kind of you've moved to Pennsylvania, you've kind of done that as a business decision. What does the next couple of years look like as things are kind of changing and hopefully coming out of COVID?
Well, I think there's going to be a focus more on the like I said, the grass tops aspect of this. There are
grass tops. I've actually never heard that before.
Yes. I started my career on Capitol Hill, and
grass tops
and grassroots types of things. And yes, that's grass tops is the phrase that they use of saying that, like, you do want to throw a net out there, but you don't want to throw a net at everyone. You want to target the people that really do have the ability to have some influence and throw the net out just to them.
Interesting. I like that.
So yeah, I mean, as far as that goes, my future, I think, is going to involve really reaching out to networking groups of the people who are doing this type of merger and acquisition work for a living, and creating add-on support. Because for the guys who are in venture capital, every single one of them needs a business evaluator. Every single one of them needs a CPA. They need a lawyer. They need a roaming staff. And if they have a project management professional, if they have those individuals as part of a working team, some of them have the ability to just do churn and burn, where they'll go straight from one deal to the next deal and just roll over and do this. So I think that, yes, the future involves me leveraging that to them, which is going to involve more trips to New York, more trips to, trying to do these private equity chapters. I know that the AMA has a chapter in Philly. It has a chapter in New York. It has a chapter in Harrisburg and has a chapter in DC. And leveraging the attorneys over at Longman and Van Grack, will also give me the ability to go fill these hours and get this type of work done, even if I'm not going to be, booking 100% of the work.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I see myself guiding more towards new business development and those types of skills. But I mean, I'm just speculating. We're coming out of a post-lockdown environment where I'm not confident that anyone knows what the environment's going to look like. And right now, it appears that it's not a deal breaker to not physically be in the room. I don't know if it's going to stay that way. I think maybe I'm speculating here, but I think that we may start to be spreading too thin on this whole concept of virtualization, and that it doesn't provide the level of quality control that's really needed. I mean, it was something that we had to do when that had to be the circumstance, but we might not be in that in the future anymore. And I'm wondering if there's going to be a pullback, and whether or not, pressing the flesh and physical being in the room is going to be the kind of thing that is going to pull down the business versus not.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I think, being prepared as much as you can.
Yes.
We don't know exactly what's happening with everything, but being the best position you can be in.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think being more virtual is going to be more prevalent. I think will probably be more of a hybrid type of situation. I think also with offices, people going back, people not going back, big companies saying you don't have to work at home, you can work at home permanently. Mm-hmm. So I think we'll see a big shift towards more virtual, but I think you'll probably have a follow-up shift that's, we want to be back face-to-face. We want to be back and trending back towards being around people again. So we're back in the office.
Especially if I'm looking to cultivate a few relationships with some high volume people. I mean, you're right. I mean, could you do the virtualization for, a volume business of small one-offs? Yeah, you could. But I'm thinking that if there's somebody out there who's an investor who has $100 million that they're willing to spend, and
this ain't enough.
They're not going to. I mean, maybe after the introductions is made and the relationship is built, then you can go into virtualization. But exactly. I don't think they're going to want to do that stuff by screen.
Yep.
When you're spending other people's money, nobody's interested in cutting corners.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So
be face to face.
That's my thought. I don't know if it's true, but that's my thought.
Yeah, no, I've heard mixed things from different folks, and it depends on what law you're practicing as well.
Uh-huh.
I know for some trial attorneys I've interviewed here on the show, and they want to be in front of a jury face to face, or they don't feel like they have an advantage.
Yeah.
And doing a trial over Zoom has not been effective at all for them. Mm-hmm. So it's to each their own, I think. And but I like being face to face. I like going out and networking. I like meeting people as much as I can. So mm-hmm. I'm on the same page with you for sure. But there's some efficiencies in this, and I think once you have a relationship, then it becomes a little easier to do. Even like we'll have a client like, hey, I'm gonna come meet you at your office, and then the next time it's like, hey, we can just Zoom call. It's cool, So it's
right.
They're like, we're good now, So, but you had to have that initial.
I mean, look, if the worst crime in the world is that I spend 2 or 3 days in downtown Manhattan as a single guy because I'm an hour and a half a cellar ride away. As far as the pain threshold goes, that's not very painful for me. I could easily find a way to turn that in my favor, and so that's just one of those things.
Yeah, I like traveling anywhere. People are like, "Where are you going?" Like, I could go anywhere, and I'm like, I'll enjoy it. So mm-hmm. That's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you sharing all that. I would say reach out to Chris, connect with Chris. His website, cmblegalanswers.com. He's new to Media, Pennsylvania, right?
Media, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area.
If you're another attorney in that area, especially in what he's doing, connect with Chris. He's new to the area. I'm not sure how well you know that area, but
pretty well.
He's going to need some new connections.
Yes, absolutely.
Someone to go hang out with.
Absolutely.
So. Okay, Chris, anything else you'd like to share before we wrap it up?
No, I think that's it. Yes, you can check out the website. If you need to talk to me directly, the phone number's on it, and I stay on top of my emails. So if there is some desire for direct contact, make it happen. I will pick up the phone.
Excellent. I appreciate you doing that. And please reach out if you got any questions for Chris. If you're someone in M&A space that could use Chris's help, please reach out to him. Also, the episode will be up here on our website soon, arraylaw.com/podcast. We're crossing the 150 mark, I think, for managing partners interviewed this year. So we got a lot of great content on there. Go check it out. Chris's will be up there soon, where you can check him out. More information will be on there about him and his firm. And if you need help growing your firm, growing your case pipeline, we can possibly help. We do website development, SEO, advertising, and social media. So we help firms grow by getting the word out. Chris has a unique approach here too. I think is grass tops approach. Is that what
Grass tops.
That's awesome. I love that. So thanks for sharing that little tip. And but for everyone else out there, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you listening to the show. Chris, you can stay on with me for just a second, but everyone else, we'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.